Hey, Mind students, this is just a little overview of what we talked about last week. So instead of going through roots, I thought it might be a little bit easier via video to just recap what we're doing. And the very first point of our 10 key areas that we're talking about, the subsystem of radiant heart, ribs, and wings. So I just thought it might be easier to recap it here so that you guys actually have a recap that you can review, because this is actually the most challenging part of the body to get a hold of. It's not just an external alignment, okay? It's an internal alignment. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's very hard to have radiant heart and radiant ribs when you feel, right? When you feel down or you feel, I don't know, not right. On the other hand, if you're not feeling good, then you tend to collapse through your ribs. So they kind of go hand in hand and back and forth. You can use your ribs to empower your attitude, and you can use your attitude to empower your ribs. So the inner alignment, it's really about your attitude, right? About your outlook, your perspective, and how you're choosing to show up. And it's positive. Generally, when we want that lifted feeling, we want the positivity, the joy, the love, the lightness that comes with this radiance. It's an inner glow, right? Oh, I didn't bring my, well, it's like a balloon filling up. I have another, let me see if I have this here. I'll bring it in to you guys. Anyway, so it's like a balloon filling up and an expansiveness in all directions. But in order for it to expand, it has to be filling with something. And we want that filling to be a light, bright, happy, expansive, connected, right, conscious attitude. So first thing, as we do anyway, let's start with the breath and a little awareness for the heart. So go ahead and close your eyes. And I will as well. And just settle into a seat. Find yourself rising from the fullness of the rib cage as you root and feel the groundedness through your hips. And at first, just recognize how you're feeling. Recognize your current attitude, state of mind. How does your body feel? Can you create more length in your belly? Then start to deepen your breath. Inhaling through the nose, slow and deep. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One more. Inhale. As you do, feel your ribs expanding backwards, side to side, and then up, forward. And then exhale, maintain as much fullness as you can. Excellent. All right, from the breath, you've created a fullness in your ribs, and hopefully arrived properly to this space, to this practice, to your time here today. So we align from the inside out. We expand the ribs, and then our outer form shifts. So as a reminder, radiant ribs, right? It expands in all directions, vectoring in all ways. So from the side profile, you imagine that as you inhale, first, and we'll do this together, you fill back and round, getting into the upper back, the thoracic spine. Then resist your hands down, push the ribs wide, side to side, and finally inhale and rise up. So now the shoulders, the wings here actually get to rise and float. So they don't have to lift or pull down. They don't have to pull back or round forward, right? They just get to rise and expand. So feel that. Take your hand and bring it behind your upper back. Breathe in and then rise up and see if you can feel that even rounding throughout your body. Excellent. Now we remember through the front body, right? So here you can see as I inhale and expand, my traps can release, right? They don't have to pull me up or down. They just get to hover and float, and they're soft, okay? So find that. Take your dome hands, bring them to your knees. Then expand out. Good. Now, from the thumb and pinky mound, remember this part. This is where you squeeze with the soft dome hand. Create a tone all the way into your arm. And see how I have a tone here. And I test bicep tone, tricep tone. And I use the pinky edge to light up my tricep and the thumb side to light up my bicep. Feel the tone. Remember, we did this with a partner. Now curl your hands into seed hand. Remember, dome, seed. Now reach out. It's a funny angle, isn't it? This looks so weird. Resist down and rise up. Then do that with your other hand. Resist down, rise up, expand. Then see if you can feel the lightness and the buoyancy that you're creating through all sides. Don't pull through the shoulders or pull through the elbows. Maintain the floating and the rising on all sides as you do this. Then find that tone where you do the little wing flapping, right? Good. Expand, stretch. Then release your hands down and maintain the rise. Okay, so radiant heart, filling from the inside. From the heart, we expand and get light through the shoulders, right? As the arms and the wings stretch out from the shoulder blade, it actually rises up and apart, all the way back here, expands. Then you bring engagement light through the fingers, toned through your thumb and pinky mound, so that you can have almost like a glove all the way up your arm in even tone, right? So often our arms are just floating around. We lead with our extremities, but there's no power behind them. So here we find the power, the confidence, the fullness, the expansiveness from the ribs. We move from that place into the wings and the arms. That's how we connect the ribs to the wings. That's where when you open a door, you can push from the fullness of your ribs, not from the flimsiness of the arms, right? We talked about when you go to pick something up, you stay lifted and light, right? So every time when you go to open a door, open the fridge, right? We talked about the dangers of fridge opening, if you recall. You can actually create tone and integration as you do that. So that's what I really want you to understand, that we're leading with radiant ribs. That means that we're starting with an attitude adjustment on the inside, with a confidence, with a trust in yourself on the inside, and then that actually really initiates all other action, right? That helps us that helps infuse everything else with that sort of support and tone from the body, from the heart into the mind, okay? It's all connected. We really need to learn to believe and trust in ourselves first before we start turning to other people to lift us up. Start from the inside and work your way out. Okay, I think that's pretty good for radiant heart and wings. It's just a reminder. Remember our dome hands, they're not weight bearing, they're soft. And then our seed hands, you curl the fingers in, rest the thumb on the index crook. You have a long, smooth shape, and then tone from here, okay? All the way up the arm. And then you resist, right? Not pulling, we're opening and expanding. Okay, that's great. So real quickly, the assignment, oops, this isn't the assignment. So we have a few questions here. And okay, so the first thing you've already kind of started, and it's to list 2 or 3 of your default habits. And you've been witnessing these now for 2 weeks probably. And so I want you to really get clear on which habits are holding you back the most and write them down, okay? Also considering how these habits might be connected to other things in your life. So for example, if you're always putting yourself down, maybe you have low self-confidence. Or if you're striking heavily on your heel and locking your knee, maybe you have some sort of joint pain. Or if you grind your teeth or are constantly stressed, maybe you get headaches or TMJ. So just kind of see if you can make a connection. It's not science. I just want you to start paying attention to what you do and what symptoms you have, because often there is a connection, okay? Next thing, we've talked about this briefly, take note of how you walk. And we did this in class, but I want you to notice what part of the foot hits first. Is it your heel? Is it your toes? Is it your ball of your foot, right? Do your toes flick up when you step? Do you hit on the outer edge or the inner edge? What kind of things are happening when you're moving, right? Is it easier to walk in flip-flops, barefoot, or in shoes? So those kind of thoughts. Next, which muscles are dominant for you? Just one or two muscles. It might be bicep, it might be traps, it might be your quads. And then where would you like to find more engagement? Okay, so wherever in your body that you wish that you could expand more and find more tone and engagement, just let me know. Or just connection. It doesn't have to be about strength, but just a deeper connection with any part of your body. Okay, next is what, oh, actually we might do this later. Are you having any struggles right now? I think the answer is probably yes, since this is pretty new, so don't worry about that one. And then the final question is, when creating goals, this is for a future assignment, so just bear with me. Do you choose goals that you can readily achieve? Goals that you think you can achieve, but you're not totally sure? Goals that you haven't achieved, but you trust that you can figure it out? Goals that scare the heck out of you? Goals that seem impossible, or you don't set goals. So I just want to know a little bit about what your process is with that, if there is one, because we'll have work on that later. So those are the main things. I'll have a couple other aggregate questions that you'll be answering throughout the semester, so I can track how you're doing, and you can also witness your own progress. But that's about it. Miss seeing you guys on Wednesday. Hope you had a great Labor Day, and let's really commit to this. So until when I see you on Monday, I want you to start being more aware, right? Really, to answer this question about your default habits, start noticing. If it takes maybe setting an alarm every hour that just says check in, right? Notice your thoughts, right? And that's actually probably one of the questions I'll have in there is, what are some default thought patterns that you have, right? It might be about negative or positive. I just want you to witness. I am in this place where I recognize, oh God, that's funny. Wonder where that thought came from, right? You can witness your thoughts and actually kind of trace them back and start to recognize that they're not always the truth. Your thoughts are a perception, and they're often old patterning, just like our alignment is old patterning. So witnessing your thoughts and being able to recognize what they are and where they're coming from and how they're affecting you is just as important as witnessing your actions and your body and your movement. Recognizing where it comes from, how you default in different situations, and how it may be affecting you. You see the connection? So that's our first step. You know, that is step one. That is Radiant Heart. And it starts with awareness. Awareness. If we're not aware, we can't choose, right? If we're not aware things are happening and we're stuck reacting and not responding. If we're not aware, right, we are in a victim mindset instead of an empowered mindset. All it takes is starting to notice what, when, and how. And then you get to choose. I'm not saying you're never going to squeeze your shoulders or hunch, you know, but it's more of shifting it so it's not happening by accident, but it's happening intentionally. I do this sometimes, right? And I think, this is my choice. And then at any time, I can choose to rise up and expand again. I can choose to take a deep breath, right? Because I know what's happening with my breath. So that's really the end goal of this course, is just teaching us greater awareness of our own body, our own habits, our own mindset, all of it. It's wonderful. So thank you guys so much for listening, and yeah, fill out the questions. There might be a couple in there about this video, just to make sure you watched it, because I really do want you to actually have this information and be able to recap it. And yeah, I will see you on Monday. Have a great week, great weekend, and yeah, talk soon.